Welcome. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the connection between our breath and pelvic floor and abdominal wall. So as you can see, our little skeleton friend here, at the bottom of his pelvis, we have the pelvic floor represented by the red little piece of paper. And then in his thorax, in the bottom 5 ribs, we have the respiratory diaphragm. The top there in the blue, we have the representation of the glottis, so where the breath comes in and out, and that's sort of a stopgap at the top. So if we think about the diaphragm and the pelvic floor, they act almost like a piston top and bottom. It's Julie Wiebe's term there. So as we breathe in, the diaphragm comes down in order to make room for the air in the lungs. Consequently, then the organs that are suspended off the underside get pushed down. In order to make pressure as net neutral as possible for that, the pelvic floor should also drop down, lengthen, and relax on the in-breath. Doesn't always happen, but that's its natural sort of rhythm, just at rest. Then on the exhale, diaphragm should rise, drawing all the organs up and in. And then we get this reflexive lift and activation of the pelvic floor. So inhale, they both drop down. Exhale, they both come up and in. So knowing that, we can actually use our breath to help activate pelvic floor with its natural rhythm and reflex, which is on the exhale. You can do it on the inhale too, but it's a lot harder. So think about the diaphragm and pelvic floor again. On the in-breath, diaphragm comes down. So if you're trying to do your Kegel on that phase of the breath, you're actually working against yourself and against gravity and making it a lot harder for yourself. So if we can coordinate it on the exhale, so inhale, exhale, we consciously connect pelvic floor, just accentuating that natural rise and lift, you'll be a little bit more successful. So let's try it here. If you can, grab a seat. You don't have to be here. Your legs can be sitting crisscross. You can be on a chair, whatever's most comfortable for you. But I would like you to have your seat grounded so you can feel both sits bones and then the perineum, so the space between your pubic bone and tailbone, in contact with some sort of surface. So noticing, if you can, take a breath in and then exhale, let it go. So again, noticing, like we had done on one of our previous videos, where your breath is going into the rib cage. So to optimize this, think about breathing to the back sides of your ribs, okay? So breath in, expand your diaphragm 360. Exhale, let it go. Do 2 more breaths there. Inhale, notice what happens in your sits bones and your perineum. So as you breathe in, does that space come into more contact with your surface of the chair or whatever you're on? On the exhale, does that rise a little bit more? If it does the opposite, don't worry, but just I want you to get this awareness. Inhale, feel your sits bones, right, left, pubic bone, tailbone, front, back. Exhale, feel that space maybe rise a little bit and lift up off your seat. It's a very small movement because the pelvic floor is attached to 4 bones. Pubic bone on the front, tailbone on the back, and both sits bones. So don't expect anything big here. So now you can play with whatever version of Kegel that you like. That'll be a different video. But for now, even just if you coordinate your breath and that awareness of what's happening in your pelvic floor can be enough. So now I'd like you to draw your awareness to your abdominal wall. As you breathe in, 360, expand your rib cage. Notice what happens to the belly. Should expand ideally. Exhale, let it deflate. Inhale again, notice what happens. See if you can draw your breath to your back body, back sides of the ribs. Exhale, notice your navel gently drawing in towards your spine. Don't accentuate that at all, but just notice that gentle cinching in. So this is the natural rhythm and reflex of the transversus. So it's our corset muscle, our deepest abdominal wall muscle, that should co-activate as pelvic floor rises. We should get the cinching of the transversus. So on the in-breath, again, everything should expand, both in the pelvic floor and in the belly. On the exhale, we should get this natural rise and lift and cinching in of the belly. Play with that just for an awareness and see how you do. We'll add on a few more cues specifically to the transversus and pelvic floor in our next few videos.